अस्सलाम वालेकुम। आप देख रहे हैं मेरे यूट्यूब चैनल सिविल स्किल सेट। हमारा 2 लेक्चर अपलोड हो चुका है रिविट के ऊपर। पहले वीडियो में हमने उसके सारे बेसिक्स और इंटरफेस के बारे में हमने बात किया था कि वॉल कहाँ से हमने उठाना है, फाउंडेशन कहाँ से उठाना है, कॉलम कहाँ से उठाना है, उसकी यूनिट कैसे चेंज करना है और वॉल कैसे लगाना है और उसकी 3D व्यू और क्रॉस सेक्शन कैसे काटते हैं। ये सारी चीज़ें हमने पहली वीडियो में कवर किया था। दूसरी वीडियो में हमारे प्रोजेक्ट का हमने वहाँ पर क्या लगाया था, ग्रिड ग्रिड कैसे लगाते हैं, ग्रिड लगाने का कौन सा तरीका है और उसके साइज़ के दरमियानी साइज़ कैसे चेंज करते हैं, उसको लॉक कैसे करते हैं। ये सारी चीज़ें हमने बात किया था। और आज के इस वीडियो में हम बात करेंगे कॉलम प्लेसिंग। तो चलिए देखते हैं कॉलम इंसर्ट कैसे करते हैं और उसकी डायरेक्शन कैसे चेंज करते हैं। इसको एक ही क्लिक पर हम सारे कॉलम कैसे लगाते हैं और अलग-अलग हम उसको कैसे लगाते हैं, उसकी डिलीट कैसे करते हैं।
Then this view actually should be changed into the view that you can see the dimensions. For example, floor plan is a good plan, is a suitable plan, right? We can see everything. Now, the dimensions. What's BF? Well, it's the width. You don't need to memorize this, right? If you click on any of these, it tells you what this is. The only thing that you click and it does not show up is K, which is the radius of this fillet. And it cannot be seen in the view. And when you click on the rest of them, it's clear actually, right? You can see it, you can understand it, because in different families there are different names, right? So don't memorize it, just click it and you can see where it is and then do the rest of the things. So duplicate, for example, 40 and 30. So this is 30, this is 40, and then OK. Now I can add this to the list of the metal columns, right? Now, if I want a concrete column, what should I do? I think you know. You can just click Load Family, right? You go to your library and using a folder, the structural columns folder, you can select the column you want. There's a point here, right? We have another column which is called columns, just columns, right? In this folder, the architectural columns exist. Like if you, for example, select one of these, right? You will face this message, this warning that says you're using the wrong category. You're selecting the column through the wrong category. So definitely go to structural columns folder. And then we can see different kinds. We have actually different kinds over here. For example, these are light steels, light metals. It's used, for example, for wall posts. There is precast concrete, steel, wood. Now, for example, we want the concrete, so I open it and then I select. We can also have the preview, right? For example, I select this and then I load it. These two have drops, I don't want it. This is round, I don't need it, right? So I just load this. And then I go to edit type, the right view, which is floor plan. Then I click it and I can see the dimensions. I duplicate and until the end, right? What we are about to do here is to work on the metal structure because it has more details, right? Metal is something we can talk about more and it actually covers the concrete structure. So select that, I'll select that 4030 column, metal column. Now we want to place this column. Before placing the columns, right, you're gonna have to pay attention to 2 points. The first one, here we have 2 kinds of columns, vertical and slanted, right? And now we want the vertical column, so check it out to be definitely vertical. The second point, the system that places the columns in structure works like this, that the floor, the column goes down from the level we are in. Therefore here it should be depth, right? It should be depth here. So you're gonna have to open it and then change it to height. Don't forget about it, right? Because if you change it to depth, it will go to the lower level, the ground level, and you think that it's not placed because you cannot see it. Then we go to the level 1, for example, TOS level 1. And then we start placing. We are actually paying attention to the 2 points, vertical column, and this should be height. Height. All right. Now, in order to be able to place these columns, we can do it one by one in the place where they are crossed, just like that. We can do it annually. We can also use a tool which is called Add Grids. What does it do? Well, Add Grids creates structural columns at the intersections of the selected grid lines. Right. So, at first click Add Grid, and then we place the columns. Now, answer this question. If I open a box, how many columns does it show? That's right, 4, because it's the intersection of these 4 grids, right? And if I open a big, let's say a complete box, all of them are shown. But if I zoom it a bit, you can see that the columns are placed vertically. Maybe you want them horizontally. You can just click space, that's all. And when you're finished, click finish, right? Now you might want some of them to turn. So select them and then click space, right? Select this and then click space, just like that. The other thing is that maybe it doesn't have it every place. Maybe all of the intersections don't have the color. Maybe some of them should be deleted. So delete them all, place them all and then delete some of them. For example, these two or this one, right? What's the problem? But you should use Add Grid, and then the ones you don't want, you can just delete. Right. The second point is about the gaps, some gaps. Why isn't it placed here? Well, when the columns go into each other, this is not placed. So the distance between the two grids must be in a way that the two columns don't go into each other. So we can just undo and fix it. For example, increase the distance here. Based on the size of the column, for example, 60 centimeters. Let's review. So at first we selected column, then vertical column, height at grids, and then we open the box, just like that. But if we wanted it to rotate, you could just actually click space. Now finish. Now the ones we don't need, we can just delete. For example, this one, this one, this one. I don't know, for example, this one too. Then we can check it in 3D, right? We really don't need these levels, which is really annoying. We can just actually hide them. Now, let's check the height of the columns. I'll select them, and then I can check them here. You should say now, base level. What's the base level? What level should they start from? That's right, from the foundation. So it should be TOF, right? Now, until what level? Top level would be TOB level 2. That's right. Now, based on the detail, it might also go until TOS, but this is more common, TOB level 2. Now let's check it out here. And don't make this mistake that you say it hasn't gone from TOF until this TOS. This is underground. This will not be just one piece of the column. It will go up until there. Now a question. Why are the columns being seen as a line, as lines? Why cannot we see the thickness, the volume and all that, you know? Can you say what this relates to? That why instead of showing us the volume of the columns, it's showing us the lines. That's right, it's related to detail level. If you open it and then choose fine, we can see the volume of the columns. So remember that if the detail view, if the detail view is coarse, they will be shown to us as lines. So definitely change it to fine. For example, in the same plan, which is where check this columns are they're being seen as lines. So if we change it to fine, we can see the volume too. Well, now we want to have the second level too. We want to have this one too. These two are extra. Let me delete them. If they were just for examples, right? Well, now we want to have the next level, next floor too. For modeling the columns in floors, we have two strategies. The first one is that we can draw the columns flatly, right? But with one condition, it should go up flatly, right? It shouldn't change the direction, change anything, just like that. It should go to the next level, connected and flat. But for walls, we said that this is not possible. But it cannot be a bad idea here in columns, right? Because usually the columns are built completely and then they are installed in the project. So The first strategy is to draw the columns flatly with one condition. All of them are the same with one direction, one everything, right? But the second strategy, right, is to draw them floor by floor like walls. And then I said that there are many advantages for that. One of them is that we can have floor by floor dimensions, right? Well, this was really important in the walls, but here in columns, it's not that important because usually the entire skeleton is paid for. The floor does not matter. The next thing is about project managing, right? For example, in Navis, you can have a code that this is built floor by floor, but if you draw it flatly, right, suddenly, for example, all of the floors are built together. The next thing is project management, that if you draw your columns flatly, while, for example, when you want to give it a code and you want to do the simulation in Navis, it's not built floor by floor. Suddenly, it's designed, it appears in as all of the floors. But we can use these two strategies only, right, when the section of the columns does not change, right? So let's just check the strategy that we might want to, for example, draw them floor by floor. Because drawing it flatly is really easy. We can just select them and change the level. But if you want to have the columns in each floor, we need to copy and paste, right? But there's a point. The point is that where you select your columns, for example, I go to 3D and I select them and copy. Now I want to paste it. The point is that if you select your columns in 3D, right, you need to paste them in a level that is the upper level. What does it mean? For example, these columns are from foundation until level 2. Where does the next column start from? From level 2 to level 3. It says that if you copy in 3D, you need to paste it in a level that it will reach in the next level, which means TOB level 3. If you paste it in TOB level 2, if you paste it here, it's pasted exactly where it was. So it should be pasted in a level that it will reach in the top of that column. Like here, it would be level 3. All right. So if you select it in 3D, you need to paste it in a level that it will reach upon the top of that column. But if you select it in plan, it's not like this. We can just paste it in the level that the column starts from. Here, for example, I go to TOF. I'll select it. It starts from here, so copy. And then what level will they start from? From TOB level 2. So I go to TOB level 2. And just like that, align to current view. You see that? Well, this is the difference. You must know, not to get confused, right? But you can just select them in 3D, copy, and then actually paste it in a level it will reach in the next level, which is level 3. I myself usually do this. But next question, why do they have interference? What are they into each other? Think about the reason. Can you say why this happened? Exactly. The reason is that the columns in the lower level started from the foundation. Therefore, their height is more than the floor, more than the level. So a bit of the height is in the ground. So when it's pasted in the next level, the height is a bit too much. Now, how can we delete that? We talked about it in the walls. We have something called base offset and top offset, right? I said in the walls, it's the same thing in columns. Base offset and top offset of the column should be 0, unless we do it ourselves based on a detail or a design. So while it's already selected, you can just change the base offset to 0. So let me do it again. I'll select it, copy, paste, because they've reached 3. I paste it in 3. While it's already selected, I check the base offset. It has, so I'll change it to 0. And now the height is okay. Now, for example, the height of the number of these will change. For example, these, right, or these. So I select them and duplicate. For example, 3 and 25, 30 and 25, right? Just like that. See them? Just like this. Now, a very technical point. The parts where the columns are cut, where there is the section of the columns, is called splash, or we can say SP, splash. In the view, right, Here is called splash. Now, the splash never happens in the level of the floor because here we have the welding. Here is actually considered to be a weak spot, a weak point. And since the section is too much here, right, this installation zone, I actually moved this zone a bit higher, right, to be away a bit from that zone. For example, I'll place it 1 meter higher. Now, in order to do that in Revit, we're going to have to select these columns first, and then 1 meter base offset, right? And it comes up. Now I select the one at the bottom, top offset. Now, it's so accurate. Let me do the other one too. One of them, that the size have changed. So, I'll select the ones at the top, positive base offset, the one at the bottom, positive top offset. Then we go to the view, the elevation. You see that? You will also see them later. So in this way, we can paste columns in higher floors, higher levels, and if their sizes changes, we can also fix it. Well, this was everything about the columns.